Hello and welcome to the Podawakens, presented by Logjam Media here on our podcasting network. My name is Jordan. With me, not always, is Chris and Ron. How you take, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. We just had a lot of fun, and we're gonna have some more fun.
And Ron, we have Ron. How are you today, Ron?
I will say this has been a very spontaneous week for us, though. There's been a lot of this just news that's been coming out of nowhere that we've kind of had to cover. And today's no different because we got a baller ass trailer to get to here.
Yeah, so we have a trailer that took us all by surprise today. There's been a lot of talk about a Tales of the Jedi Season 2. I'm guessing this is it. And they've rebranded with Tales of the Empire. I mean, because the logo goes from Tales of the Jedi to Tales of the Empire in this. Unless if they mean that we're still getting a Tales of the Jedi Season 2 and they're also just branching out into different stuff. But yeah, it took us by surprise. It's dropping May 4th. We're a month away. So I guess that's why they wanted to unveil it right now.
What a day
I think
that's going to be. Holy crap.
Yeah, Bad Batch I think drops their last episode like a week or a couple weeks before May 4th. Like, so we're gonna have people were wondering what's happening on May 4th. If Bad Batch is wrapped up, what are we gonna do? This is the answer.
And you're also going to go to the theater and see the Phantom Menace re-release. And you're going to head to your comic book shop and pick up the Phantom Menace one-shot comic that's coming out. There's so much stuff going on that day. I am so stoked, man. You'd have to pry the smile off my face that day.
Yeah, because that's free comic book day, right?
Indeed it is. So even if you're not a Star Wars person, which if you are, you're probably not listening to this show, there's something for you that day.
May the fourth be with you.
Yeah, so I'm really excited that they decided to drop this today. So for people that don't know, Tales of the Jedi was like a 6-episode shorts. They were anywhere from like 10 to 18 minutes. They were like almost long enough to be Clone Wars episodes
in some cases.
And yeah, in some of the episodes, and they focused on 2 characters, and this is very similar. They focused on Dooku and Ahsoka. And in this show, it looks like we are seeing Barriss and Morgan Elsbeth as our main 2 protagonists in these 6 episodes, which they did confirm 6 episodes, 2 stories. So I think we're on the same page in regards to that.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like it's also going to be set across 3 different, we're going to get like time period we're going to get 1 episode for each that's set during the prequels. We're going to get another that's set during the original trilogy. And then there could be some debate on what the 3rd one is going to be. It could either be during like Ahsoka season 1 time, because obviously all of this is going to tie pretty heavily into the storyline that we saw start to get set up in Ahsoka.
Well, real quick, I don't want to cut you off, but New Republic for sure, because they show up at Morgan Elsbeth's place.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, they got like the Rebel helmets on, but they're like they're the New Republic helmets and stuff.
No, then it wouldn't be set during like Rebels times. Then it would be post original trilogy, right? If it's new.
Well, I'm thinking there still could be some pre stuff with Morgan Elsbeth.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking there could be. They may not be the same for each character. So I think like for Barriss, it's going to be right after the Clone Wars original trilogy, and then maybe you get a post original trilogy thing. And I think with Morgan Elsbeth, you get maybe original trilogy, like before original trilogy, and then New Republic.
Well, we're going to have to get something in the prequel.
No, that's right. We get her with Clone Wars.
Well, also Elsbeth is fighting Grievous.
Yes, he's on Dathomir. So yes, we get something with her in Clone Wars then for sure.
Yes.
But I'm thinking her last, and then maybe Empire time she meets Thrawn, right? Because we see her with Thrawn.
Yep.
And we know they have a relationship per Ahsoka. And then the next one is probably the lead into the Mandalorian and Ahsoka stuff.
Literally, probably the exact lead in to the episode of The Mandalorian that we saw when we get Ahsoka and we visit the planet
Yes.
who the name escapes me at the moment. But we saw literal shots from that exact same place that she was in that episode. So yeah, that I don't think we're very off base with this one. I think we're pretty spot on. But Chris, so obviously we're sitting here and we're just nerding out here. But as somebody, because we kind of got the old Ahsoka crew back together here with us three.
Oh hell yeah!
Are you like? Give me your thoughts on maybe seeing a little more of wow, drawing a blank. Who's the character that we were just talking about? Literally,
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss
Yeah.
Offee. Like, so you're obviously you haven't seen Clone Wars yet, but there's a lot of story that connects Barriss to Ahsoka, and she is basically the reason that she gets expelled from the Jedi Order, and eventually it kind of ends up rectifying itself in the terms of that Barriss is kind of caught, and Ahsoka ends up leaving the Jedi Order anyway because she's like, screw you guys, you didn't believe me, like I'm out of here. But I guess I'm just kind of curious as somebody who watched Ahsoka with us, but isn't quite so steeped in all of the freaking nerdy lore that me and Jordan are in. Like, what are your thoughts watching the trailer?
Okay, so I'm into the vibe. I'm like, okay, I kind of get where they're going. Like, I kind of have enough information to be like, oh, I can watch this show and enjoy it. I thought the animation was cool, which was Star Wars for me has kind of been a turnoff a lot of the times, whereas I don't like the animation style.
Well, it's
And
been
so
getting
this,
better. Like every project that they release, it just gets better and better and better.
So this I was like, oh, cool, it looks cool. The ending of the trailer, I'm just like, yeah, sign me up. Yeah, okay, cool, let's go.
Some Vader action? Are you kidding me?
You hear the breathing. I was like, yeah, I'm in. I enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was cool. I'm into the vibe. I'm into the sinister, long live the Empire kind of, and I'm interested to get more Thrawn because Thrawn kind of captivated me with Ahsoka, and I'm like, there's a lot of things that are working for me, so I'm cool with it. I have this kind of policy when it comes to Star Wars and also of like X-Men or anything I'm behind on is if something new comes out, I just jump on it, so I'm not behind on that too.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's also good because there's not really this level of expectation that you're going with of like they got to do this, and you got like we were talking in our group chat earlier today about Barriss, and Jordan was like, "Well, what if?" Because I was saying how I think this is basically confirmation that we are getting Barriss in live action at some point. They wouldn't do all of this stuff and incorporate all of this storyline that we saw in Ahsoka, and we get a younger Thrawn, which I'm also excited for you to see as somebody who didn't watch Rebels, but can still kind of pick up some stuff from that. I said that this was going to be Barriss's live action introduction in Ahsoka season 2, and this was going to be the lead up to it. And Jordan was like, "What if she dies?" And I was like, "If they kill this girl in this show in 6 mini episodes, I am rioting. Like, I'm going to become one of those toxic Star Wars YouTubers you see all the time. I'm going to change my name to
please don't. No, yeah. I don't think I could deal with you if you're one of those toxic Star Wars bros because a lot of times human decency goes out the window with them. But
you're a fan of Rey, really, loser.
Yeah, I am a fan of Rey. Actually,
I was kind of teasing you
really,
with
the you loser.
With the Barriss. I was kind of teasing you with the Barriss thing just because I felt like I could. So, but no, I was saying that because I was teasing you that she might die, but I don't want us to get our hopes up too much of her appearing in Ahsoka season 2. I do think that this is one of those things where they were like, people have been clamoring for Barriss continuation, and they've been saying she was an Inquisitor for so long. Like, people have been putting those pieces together. That I think now, even if that wasn't the plan, they're like, that's a good idea. And they're now like, let's do it because people keep asking for it. And I think it could go just as far as that. I'm very happy we're getting Morgan Elsbeth because I'll tell you, on February 29th, I turned on CBS and I was watching that show Elsbeth, and I was just waiting for Morgan Elsbeth to show up in that show. And I am so heartbroken that she wasn't in it. Now I'm like, Yes, this apparently it's about a different Elsbeth. But anyway, I'm
How
very
dare they?
happy.
Misleading marketing, if you ask me.
That is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I thought CBS had the rights. No, but it looks like she was former magistrate of Caladan. I think that's the planet
Caladan,
where
yes,
she
that
was
is
on.
that is what
Yeah.
it is. Yep. Well, I'm also interested because, as I mentioned,
Corvus is the planet. Is where
that's where the Caladan is the actual structure,
the one she was
place,
on.
town, whatever the hell you want to call it, is where they're in, right?
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
But it's on Corvus.
So I'm really excited about this because while I think Barris is cool and I'm excited for that, I think Morgan Elsbeth is one of those characters that is very underrated in the sense of we don't have enough information on her.
Mhm.
So being able to get that information, and that's what I like that they're doing with these type of shows, Tales of the Jedi, giving us that Dooku backstory where I'm like, this is what I want. They gave us Ahsoka too, but we already kind of had so much stuff on her. This show is really showing you what you can do. If they're going to always do 6 episodes, 2 characters, then yeah, give me Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Give me Tales of the Sith. Give me Tales of the Jedi Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Tales of the Knights of Ren. I don't know. Like, give me stuff that fills in gaps.
Tales of
that
the Darth Maul.
Yeah,
I'm all about
that
those
we
tales,
don't have.
You know?
Give me the information in those gaps that we don't have completely filled right now. But no, it's this is what they're gonna do. I really like that. Instead of flocking in to only be Tales of the Jedi, give us Tales of the Empire. You still have 4 sensitive character. I mean, she's a Night Sister, right? And then we also have Barris, who was a former Jedi. So I really like this so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm curious to get into, because there was obviously so much rich storytelling involving the Night Sisters in Clone Wars with the aforementioned my boy Darth Maul. Like, I've always been kind of interested in how Mother Talzin fits in with that. Obviously, in a very prominent way, because we saw her in Ahsoka wielding the blade of Talzin, and that's just not something you just get to do if you're the lowest Night Sister in the ranks. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm very interested to see that era in particular with her, the Clone Wars area, and what she was kind of up to during that time. And with Thrawn, like what Chris said, it seems like that whole conversation between those two that we saw in the trailer between Elsbeth and Thrawn is going to be like Clone Wars era. So seeing what he was up to during that time especially is going to be very interesting too. Really love the animation style on this one too, of Thrawn in particular.
Yeah, so that's the big thing people are talking about, right? Is we're seeing characters like Grand Inquisitor and Thrawn with their new models because they were in the Rebels show, which had a whole different animation style.
So distinct.
Mm-hmm.
Very much.
It was very Ralph McQuarrie concept art. And this is an evolution of that Clone Wars season 7 to Bad Batch seasons 1 through 3. Like, really, look, no secret, I'm revisiting right now Clone Wars seasons 1 through 3.
Chronological Clone Wars.
Yes, that's where I'm currently at right now, is season 3 on recording it. I don't know where we're at releasing it right now. But it's the animation has gotten better each season in that too. And season 7 is incredible. Bad Batch has somehow upped that animation style.
Mm-hmm.
And then this looks like even somehow another evolution of the Bad Batch animation. And I'm really excited, not to get off tangent here, but what's next after Bad Batch? Because this is wrapping up. This is obviously just a little short series. They're not going to go without a Star Wars animated series. They've been pumping those things out all the time. So hopefully we get something else in these Clone Wars models and stuff and kind of explore a different era. But yeah, I mean, the animation looks great. You know who we haven't talked about yet? Who's in this trailer and on the poster? Merrick, the Inquisitor.
The one who we all thought was Barris in Ahsoka.
Yeah, some people thought
I mean me.
Some people thought it was Ezra.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'm guessing will we get an answer about that because he kind of just turns into like smoke.
It was
Do we
very
find out he's
underwhelming.
like a real guy in this? I don't know.
It was one of those things, even though we loved Ahsoka and obviously we had a ball covering it, the three of us together. That was one of the things that we had talked about a lot leading up to it. And when they had that moment in the forest and it was just like poof, it was like,
Yeah.
all right, you know? So, like,
Sometimes I put the blame on us though, like fans, because it's like the
See, I didn't
marketing,
have
the
any of that.
marketing, the marketing didn't really make a big deal about Marok, right? It was like
they did.
the fans did. I really feel
See,
like the fans
I didn't
did.
have any of that, so I got to enjoy it. It was like just like I Ahsoka probably was one of my favorite things we've done together. Like it was a great time, and um, it kind of showed me what I've been missing. And then, like I I've become a better nerd because of you two. So I'm all for it. Like I'm totally all for it. This is cool.
Also, I will push back on you a little bit, Jordan, because they featured Merrick in that trailer pretty prominently for Ahsoka. Like they wanted people
You think so?
questioning. Yeah, I think so. And they had people questioning, and it's one of those things where I get it. You want to drum up, talk, and you want to get this kind of internet ball rolling that we all went on with that character. But if we can kind of get the Clone Wars treatment that what they did for the prequels for that character in this show, like maybe build it up a little. Even if we find out that like Merrick themselves is just this manifestation of dark Night Sister energy, and it's like whatever. Just give us a little more story so it just isn't as plain as it was put out in Ahsoka. This character that we thought was going to be maybe Ezra, maybe Barriss, and it ends up being Cloud. Poof, you know?
And we thought that was Night Sister magic, but like, so I guess that's what I want answered on. Like, will these characters actually overlap in these 6 episodes?
Mm.
Is something I'm wondering too, because they're going to be around that same time frame at a point of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So, wondering if we'll see Elsbeth create Merrick, or if it's like he's a real guy and then he dies and they just say use your Night Sister magic to make him come back. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm really wondering about, and not to get look. These things are 15 minutes long. I don't want to get the hype up that we're getting
Hmm.
Merrick's backstory or anything, but just something I was thinking about.
That is really cool, though. Like that is a really cool thought. Like if Merrick is just this essentially manifestation of Night Sister magic, and it's like this badass warrior, or what if it is kind of like a what movie was that? Was it Hocus Pocus, where they like bring that guy back to life and he ends up essentially just becoming like
Yes.
he just ends up becoming like their like kind of guy that they bully around and just make do
Yeah.
their bidding. Like for all we know, maybe Merrick was like a Jedi that died and then they like just brought him
Resurrected
back
him
to
or
life.
something.
And like there is some really cool potential that they have there with that story if they decide to go that route.
Yeah. The new Grievous model looks great too. I just want to say that he
Dude,
looks fantastic.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so cool. And like, why would he be fighting Morgan Elsbeth? Or was it Barriss that he was fighting? It looked
No, he fights Elsbeth. I'm pretty sure. So from
but,
what I read
but she
is
has
that
like Barriss's like facial markings in, or she's got some kind of whether it's
what I
war
read is
paint
in the
or
comics. In the comics somewhere, he like ransacks Dathomir or attacks Dathomir.
okay, so that would do it.
So
Yeah.
that would be people are like, oh, we're seeing that instead of just in the comics. And I wonder, like, I didn't read that comic. I don't know what they're referring to, but it does seem like that maybe at one point he attacked
That
Dathomir,
tracks
and
big
we're
time.
seeing that.
Yep. Okay. So that answers that. Okay. Just also really quick because you mentioned Bad Batch and the animation and like how we've kind of talked about how it just gets better with every show. So we haven't been watching Bad Batch obviously from the start. It's one of those shows we just haven't had really the time to cover on the show. But these last 2 episodes that released the other day were, they were a big deal and everyone was like, hey, you got to watch these ones. So I was like, all right, let me watch, see what I can kind of pick up in terms of the Project Necromancer and like all the stuff that they're very much filling in the gaps in from the sequels now with these shows. There's a scene where Hunter is coming out of the water. I swear to God, I thought it was live action, dude. The way
Really?
dude, I swear to God, I thought it was live action for a second. The way that like the water ripples off him and everything, and it's like a night scene, and the way the moon
Damn.
is I highly recommend going back and at least watching these. I know you said you were going to do a
I'm watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
I got to catch up on. I meant to catch up on season 2 before season 3. And look, for
Mhm.
season 1, I did some stuff on this channel for, but to be honest, it was just me because nobody else I knew was watching it. And the episodes weren't great because it was me talking by myself for like 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And they weren't great. I was like nobody to share it with. So
to be fair, I found Elseworlds by listening to just you for like 20-minute patches, and they were
yeah,
pretty cool. I mean,
thanks.
it got me in it, so you know.
Yeah, I hate my voice so much though, so I don't like listening to myself. So maybe I think other people don't.
I think we all do
so
that though. Like I literally think that's just a thing people do.
yeah,
it's the
so
crutch word argument that we had the other night.
yeah.
Yeah, with the crutch words.
So it was. So I want to do it because I really liked Bad Batch season 1. I have to catch up on season 2 and then season 3, and I know I've talked about it on Chronological Clone Wars. The original plan was for us, once we're done Clone Wars, to do Tales of the Jedi in 2 episodes. Like we'll do one just on the Dooku stuff, one on the Ahsoka stuff, and then take a break because I'll be a new father and take a little bit of a break here, and then get into Bad Batch. Because originally I was going to go into Rebels, but I'm like, if we're doing chronological Clone Wars, we'll go chronologically through all of this, and we'll do Bad Batch. So that's when we'll have our full Bad Batch stuff. This Tales of the Empire, I think we're all, at least me and Ron, Chris, if you're interested, we'll jump in and do, something after May 4th where we get on and just talk all 6, get into the weeds. But then I'm also going to cover it again with Logan, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm putting that. If I have to, I guess I'll put it after we're done Bad Batch or something. But we will do Tales of the Empire on our chronological watch through as well. So,
Dope.
all right. So I think now's we actually went longer than we thought we would, as per usual on these shows. So I guess let's give final thoughts. Maybe like final thoughts on the trailer, or what you're most excited for, whatever you want to say about it. But I guess we'll start with Chris. Final thoughts.
I thought that this trailer just seemed to matter. Like it got my attention. The vibe check was like crazy, and long live the Empire. I'm in. Like that was cool. It caught my attention. It didn't even need to be that flashy. And I love that Star Wars is trying. That's my biggest thing. Like I love that Star Wars is like going for it. And it seems like each new thing, it's like, man, they went to a level I didn't think they'd go to. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ron, final thoughts.
Yeah, we're getting to piggyback off of Chris's point, we're getting a lot more cool stuff in recent years, specifically in these last few projects in terms of the Night Sisters and the magic side and the witches that we're also going to be seeing coming up in Acolyte. Just a total different side of the Star Wars universe that's a little off the beaten path from the standard kind of vibe that we're used to through the Skywalker saga, if you will. So I'm excited just to see more of that, to continue this story that we saw really start in Clone Wars with Barriss, but then that continued through Rebels and with Thrawn, and just Ahsoka, the live action show that we just got that we've talked about a few times in this show. Just the continuity and the keeping stories going is what I love the most about Star Wars, and the interconnectivity of it all. So to be able to see that continue, and just the Easter eggy kind of goodness that we're going to get with Grievous, and Chris referenced the Vader scene that we got at the end.
Yeah.
So just seeing all these kind of little cameos that we're going to get along the way of this story. Again, my biggest hope is that it leads to finally getting Barriss in live action and seeing her and Ahsoka kind of confront each other, especially after all these years. I think will be really awesome. just a lot of really, really great stuff in this trailer that I think is going to matter. That's going to matter far beyond this show. We'll say.
Yeah, I think one thing Star Wars has going for it over Marvel, right, is that for me, all of this stuff matters. The books matter, the comics matter, the cartoons matter, the live action stuff matters. And Disney has done such a better job of that than George had done. George was very, I'll overwrite it,
He's busy
right?
eating
Like,
sequels.
yeah,
Mhm.
we had something called G level canon, which would be anything George made, and then there was like other levels of canon, and each one could overwrite the one below it if they wanted to.
Yep.
And Disney was like, no, we're gonna just consolidate, everything counts. Since then, we've gotten Cobb Vanth from the Aftermath trilogy in Mandalorian. We've got Black
Oh
Chrysanthemum.
man.
We got Black Chrysanthemum in Book of Boba Fett from the comics. You know, we're getting Morgan Elsbeth bouncing from a live action show to animation. We've gotten Grand Inquisitor and Thrawn in live action and in cartoons. Like,
we're
they,
getting Vanestra Rowe in
yeah, we're getting Vanestra
Acolyte.
Rowe in the Acolyte. So they've been making sure these characters can bounce between whatever. And Fennec Shand appeared in Bad Batch. Like, it's amazing what they've been able to do, and part of that is because they're able to tell stories in different eras all the time, so then they can retcon it where this character has always been there, right?
Mhm.
Like, if they didn't do Bad Batch, then you can't say, oh, Fennec Shan's always been there, but they did Bad Batch and they're like, oh, she's been here forever ago, like, don't you know her? And that's what works so well with Star Wars. I'm really excited to get these two characters in different points of time, and I'm more excited for the Elsbeth stuff than the Barris stuff, because I feel like the Barris stuff is what everyone always thought was going to happen with Barris.
Yeah.
So seeing it was Elsbeth and seeing, okay, we can get some tie-in material to stuff we've seen in Mando and Ahsoka, but it dates back to the Clone Wars, is something that I think really strengthens the Star Wars canon. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
And it's gonna further paint that picture to where when we finally get to that culmination Dave Filoni movie, that's a culmination of Mando, Boba Fett, Ahsoka. There is going to be so much in the same way, not to reference it again, but in the same way that the Clone Wars did for the prequels. The only difference is we're getting this ahead of time, whereas a lot of times in Star Wars, it's like they give you the movie, and like we're seeing with Project Necromancer right now and the cloning stuff. They'll give you the movies and then they give you the background information. This is we're getting a true proper build up to it, and it's just can't wait to see where it goes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can
I think
go ahead.
consistency is huge. I'm sorry, man.
No, that's all
I
right.
think consistency is huge. You know, we talk about what James Gunn's like doing with DC, and is like really into consistency and not toying with fans. And I think Star Wars and Disney have done such a good job of that, of just not messing with the fans. Like the fans are your bread and butter, and that's why I find it so funny when you can see
Depends on
all
what
this
fan you're
turmoil.
asking, I guess, right?
No, but
Um,
no, but so my point is, like, when I see all this turmoil online, I'm like, they are giving you so much content, and they are saying it's
yeah.
all valid, and you're so upset that it's all valid when that's what you asked for. So, like, you want your part to be valid. So let everybody else have their piece of the cake. So, I mean, when we're talking about Star Wars, we're talking about aliens and different looking creatures and humanoids and Wookiees alike. I mean, like, it's just the stupidest. Yeah, it's the
It's pretty good.
stupidest thing to fight about. So I love what Disney is doing with it, and anyone who's upset, just take a hike, buddy.
DC is a good example of what they're almost. I feel like they're almost emulating Star Wars, because James Gunn wants games, he wants
Yeah,
TV, he wants cartoons, he wants all of that stuff under DCU. And I
yeah,
feel like that's very similar to what Star Wars is able to do. Because, like, Jedi Survivor, like, we could see Cal Kestis appear in one of these episodes, and it would
Hell
hell
be
yeah.
yeah.
perfectly great. You know, like, that'd be
You don't
awesome.
even get, dude. If Cal Kestis shows up in this like lead up to this movie, the Filoni movie that we've been talking about, oh my
Oh
god,
yeah,
dude! Like, just I will be unbearable. I will be
he.
unbearable.
By the time they film this thing, he'll be the right age to be Cal at that time.
To be
Actually,
older,
so
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Hell yeah, dude.
Even if he just appears in one of these episodes as a background thing, while you see Barris in the temple and there's Cal Kestis or something.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
great stuff there. So you can follow us at podawakens on all of our social media. Over on the other podcasts, we have Elseworlds. We just did a draft that we recorded that should be up very soon, or by the time this episode's up, I'm not sure, but it was a draft with Anthony from Digging for Kryptonite, where he drafted our Justice League lineups. Ron, I think, mentioned it earlier on, X-Men 97. We've been covering that over on Marvel to the Infinity Saga and Beyond, our Marvel podcast. Here on Pod Awakens, I've been doing our chronological Clone Wars every Wednesday, and then every Friday, starting this week, so it might already be up, is our High Republic Road to the Acolyte, and we launched with Light of the Jedi, the first book that was released in that, and I have a nice discussion with Christina, who came on to talk Light of the Jedi. And we'll be doing that every Friday until I run out of Fridays. And then we'll probably have episodes dropping close to daily by the end of it, because there are some episodes that I'll have to churn out at the end. But May 4th, this drops. May 4th, our Phantom Menace 25th anniversary special will drop as well. So make sure you keep your eyes and ears out for that. Thank you all for watching and listening. You can like and subscribe to us here on the YouTube channel, and rate and review us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Thank you for watching and listening, and we will catch you next time.
May the force be with you.
Ah, you beat me to it, you bastard. I was just going to say it, but yes.